Okay, hi everybody.
Hi.
This is November that we're planning for here. It's October for us, but November for you, hopefully, if you got the right one. The topic tonight is church, so we thought we'd have you just talk about why you come to Montview Church, why church in general is important to you. We're going to talk a little bit about the way that church is changing and why we think it's still a valuable, an important part of what you should do, so and to be a part of it. So we're going to start by talking a little bit about the different ways that we see the church changing. Mm-hmm. One of the most obvious for us is seeing that the mainline church is has been in decline for years, the last 10 or 15 years in particular. That the numbers that they had, as not as many new people are coming in as people die.
Yeah, the church of the 1950s, when you know, especially Protestant denominations were. People were just flooding into Presbyterian and Methodist and Lutheran churches. Those days are
It's just
gone.
the thing you did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was what the community did.
Right.
The plus side of it, I mean, if there's a silver lining to this, and I don't think it's good news, of course, but the plus side of it is that because it's not just a larger cultural norm that you just went to church, right. The people who do go to church are there because they want to be there. It's an intentional choice. It's almost countercultural now. I mean,
right.
Funny enough, yeah. I don't know about
for
us, I've got friends that don't go to church that think I'm a little crazy to be a minister. I'm careful about what I say at a party. You know, if someone
right.
says, "What do you do?"
Right.
Or on a plane. You ever on a plane and someone says,
yeah.
"What do you do?" You go,
I'm not. Yeah.
I'm in the service industry, or you know.
Yeah.
It's
people are surprised,
tricky.
and people are surprised not only just that, oh, that wasn't what I expected, but they're surprised because there isn't this same context for church the way, and the minute you say church, all sorts of images come into people's heads,
right.
And they're not sure, and not always good ones, and they're not sure which image you might be related to, so,
right.
yeah. There's certainly lots more competition on Sunday mornings. Right. That's another thing that's changed. I think back in the day, as they say, that there were fewer real things happening, but now there's hockey on Sunday morning. Yeah. There's hockey practice and soccer practice. My husband Doug and I raised our two kids, and they're now off to college, but we had lots of years where it was tricky trying to figure out, you know, how to balance sleepovers and soccer games and plays. And
we're about to get into this.
Yeah, you're on your way.
Right
so it's there's true competition, and I think also with both parents working outside the home, for those of you who experience that, you know that it's sometimes hard just to get out of your pajamas on Sunday morning and get anywhere. It's this sort of sacred time that it's interesting because we think about Sunday as a sacred time for God. Well, it also is a sacred time to just remember and celebrate your family through a busy week. So, you know, how do those two things fit together, or don't they?
It's one of the very few unscheduled times in people's lives, and so to schedule it again, we realize the challenge of that, and so we're grateful that you make the choice to do that, and we'll talk a little bit about why we think that's a good choice for you to do that.
Right.
But another piece about the way the world's changing is certainly the internet and what's become available in terms of information. You can learn, you know, anything you want about any religious tradition there is. There's other, besides just on the internet, there's just more communities you can go and be a part of. You can go sit with a Buddhist meditation group now and explore that. There's so many ways
there's
to explore.
Still televangelists out there. I think there's programs on Sunday morning.
There's a lot of choices.
All kinds of ways that you can tap into spiritual truth. And so then the question is sort of, you know, how is church changing in that sort of culture when there's so many other things available? So. That would lead to what I think is a great question for us to ask ourselves. It's a question Greg and I and all those who work here at Montview and help to lead this church ask all the time, and that is, why does church matter? Why does it still matter to you? I know when I ask that question of myself, for some reason, the first thing that always comes to my mind is that it's truly one of the only places left in society where we have a chance to have a real intergenerational experience on a weekly basis if we want to. Grandmas and grandpas who are here who don't have grandkids in town love nothing more than to see your children run up to the Word to the children. They love baptisms. You know, the Kleenexes come out as we walk beautiful babies up the aisle.
And it's important for the kids, I think, at some level. I mean,
Right.
they wouldn't, maybe not on a conscious level, but to be in communities where people are not all...
Where they don't all look the same age.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
It matters at some level.
Our neighborhoods aren't always as diverse in terms of age groups as we would like them to be, and it's really terrific to have that here. It's one of the things I love so much about the church.
Another way that I think that church matters is that it's one of the few places where we can ask the big questions. Why am I here? What does it matter? Where am I headed? That are not unimportant in our lives, but it's awfully easy to get caught up in the ruts and the day-to-day kind of things and the trials and the stresses of life, and to not take some time to say what's important to me,
Right.
and to have discussions about that.
Right. I know as parents we get so focused on what is right in front of us, our kids, that sometimes we don't even see wide enough to ask what does matter. We think we know what matters. It's our kids and our family, and we're so focused on that sometimes it takes something else to help bring us out of that. I know Doug and I were really grateful to people along the way who helped us remember that there are other things as well as our children that matter in the world, and what are those things, and to discuss that with each other.
And that then makes you a better parent to the day-to-day kinds of things. It really
I hope
does.
so.
Well, yeah.
I hope so.
Otherwise you're so focused that you don't realize when you're burnt out,
Right.
or when you're not balanced in your thinking.
The church also helps us to ritualize things through life. The church has a wonderful understanding of sacred and mystery, and being able to hold those things together with ordinary life. So a baptism where is a practical thing and something you want to do, and there's parties around it and it's a lovely time. It's also this incredible mystery of how God is present in the life of this child, and that happens with communion and confirmation and the church marriages and
funerals.
The church helps to do that, I think,
All through your life.
through the years and all through our lives. So
I'm not sure everybody recognizes the significance of it
Right.
until
you look backward,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
we should get to the questions.
Okay, 3 questions for you. We'll email these to you too, but here they are for this month. Why do you come to church, and why do you come to Montview Church? Those may be different questions for you. Talk about number 2. Talk about the supportive, or maybe not so supportive, communities around you in terms of getting to church, being a part of a church community. So in other words, work. Is work a place that supports you taking time for this, or do you kind of not talk much about being a Christian and being a part of that, or the soccer games and all of that? Just
Right.
what's the rest of your life doing in terms of being supportive or not? And then lastly, what are you doing, or what could you do to keep church a priority? So some of you may have found some strategies or made some choices, maybe some difficult choices, and we thought having you guys talk a little bit together might help
Yeah.
you feel more supported in
The choice that you've made. So
Yeah.
we want you to know that you matter a lot to us and to Montview, and it's important to us that we support you in your journey as you support this church in our journey together. So hope you have a great discussion and enjoy your evening.
Have a great night.